Hey Deedo, guess what time it is?
KT, I don't think this is the time to go to the police and see if we can get a permit for monkey boxing.
What? I thought you wanted dogfighting. Anyways,
What can I say?
in this episode, Deedo turns into a robot. We learn about some childhood promises, and, girls, they love their rings. All that more, coming up. It's time for the Ktdata Anime Podcast with Deedo and Ktdata. The Ktdata Anime Podcast is brought to you by because and by Time and Energy. We all need more both. Welcome to the Ktdata Anime Podcast. I'm Ktdata,
I'm Deedo.
and here is the show where we sit around, watch some animes, and then blab about it for about the same amount of time that it takes to watch all these animes, because that's how we roll. So, Deedo, how are you doing tonight? That's a little late.
Probably a lot better than you, KT.
Yeah, if you guys haven't noticed, I may look a little tired and wrinkled and 40 years older than usual, and that's because I've been running around for the past week or so.
Because he
but-
really is.
Yeah, and you think I could get some rest and relaxation after I finish the show and all, but guess what we're doing this weekend, Deedo?
We are going to be covering another anime convention this weekend on March 2nd and 3rd called Anime Salt Lake. It is their first anime con here in Utah. So we're going to be... we actually got press passes, believe this or not.
Woohoo!
You know,
Legit!
because- Exactly. So check us out. So after the weekend, and hopefully I will have the review up, and hopefully an assload of pictures if I get lucky enough, because we're gonna have our roadie and a nice camera opposed to my
Yes.
little snapper.
Yes, and then I'm gonna have nice microphones, and I'm gonna edit these as soon as possible, because by then I should have most of the CS stuff done, and we've heard this story before, and I'm actually gonna make...
Yes.
I need an intervention. But who else needs
Yes,
an
because we're
intervention?
still we're like 6 months behind on the anime bonsai
Well, yeah.
and the second day for geeks.
We'll get there. But do you know who else needs an intervention? No,
Shoo.
No idea, of course. So let's just jump into our first episode. Spoilers abound! And of course, our first anime that we're bringing to you is Guilty Crown, and it's brought to you by Reincarnation. Never know what's gonna happen to you.
So, last episode we learned that Shu is just learned some creative fishing. Yahiro once again is hated by us, of course, and we learn how to break a void.
So yes, as we have seen during many of these episodes so far, each episode we come, Shu goes a little more loco.
Squishy.
Yeah, our favorite jerk in the anime may have gone a little too far down the rabbit's nest this time around.
Yeah, from when we encounter Yairo and his douchiness, as I'm calling it, he realizes after a certain point that Shu is starting to get more than he can control, and he starts trying to bring him back, and obviously he's not going to believe him at this point.
Yeah, I am now officially calling him Crazy King Shu because he's really nuts and all that jazz.
Yeah, when you first see the 17th episode in the beginning, you see about how crazy we really mean.
Yeah, he doesn't see people as people anymore. They're just tools to be used during the entire thing. And then, if we remember back in episode 16, we actually thought that Inori might have just offed our former president, Arisa. That would have been interesting. But
It
no.
actually would have.
Yeah, it would have been interesting, but no. they decided to do the another anime cliche by just revealing that she not even mortally injured, but heavily injured Arisa's hand. Would that be fair?
Well, what do you? Well, she stuck one of those like spikes right through her hand. So yeah, I would say that it was pretty messed up.
Yeah. And then, of course, our resident brown nosers that really just want to take over Shu's reign and everything, they decide to send a school-wide message saying that if you break your void, you die. That's not going to
Yes.
cause a little bit of unrest or anything, right? You know, everybody's just going to take you laying down, just like they've
Oh, they
taken
took
everything else.
Oh, come on. You saw them. They took it just fine, you know? Die, Shu, you bastard. We're going to kill you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's
I think they
perfectly
took it quite well.
Yes, yes. Very, and no kind of mass wide panic or anything, because the wall is still moving in on them too. Let's not forget about
Yes.
that.
Yes, they have
Yeah.
about a week left before the walls hit their school. But here's what we mean by Yahiro being a complete douche, because he goes to talk to Arisa, and Arisa is just like, I'm going to tell you who actually attacked me, and because that Inari is the only person that Shu pretty much trusts.
I trust
Yes,
you guys
I know
all.
English people. I graduated, got my education.
There.
Anyways, so when Yahiro comes and confronts Shu, because at this point, Inari's already told Shu that she might have done something to Arisa, and Yahiro just kind of confirms it, and he's not in the mood to believe Yahiro at this point because he wants to make her an example, because if they don't, they're going to lose morale and all that jazz. But we all know that we already know everything's going downhill at this point.
Oh yeah. All these kids, they don't know what they're doing. Let's be honest. This is just a train wreck, and we are enjoying watching every single bit of it.
Yes, actually. But because of that, Yahiro got ranked down to the F section.
Dun dun dun! But yeah, Deedo, you forgot to mention something in our last episode about thinking there might be a mole.
Yes. I've been we always try to interpret our cliches, stuff that we predict in from next episode, because this whole anime is about cliche that we've mentioned in the last few episodes. I feel that there was a mole in there, they're able to get all this information because you keep on talking about how she was gathering all the voids.
You can go to the doctor and get those removed, right?
Yada yada yada. And my first person I thought of was gonna be Yahiro, because he was
evil, conniving,
sugar boy.
Sugar.
And sugar. And apparently I was wrong. I'm kind of glad I didn't mention this last episode, because I didn't see this one coming. Believe this or not.
Yeah. And then but we'll tease you and tell you who the mole is a little bit later in the story.
Yes, but first we must go back to Arisa, because when one of the gruesome twosome dumb buddies decided to hear that she was talking to somebody, comes in there, says, "You can't badmouth Shu," and she made probably the most provocative suggestions I have ever heard anyone ever say in this show. Pull out my void, and she basically puts his hand on her chest, and later in the episode we see that they did the snooky.
What? They did the what?
Yes.
What? Yeah, but so
come on, we have to keep this ready for podcast. We can't just say that they had. Yeah.
Okay. Just go watch the animes. You'll figure it out. They were just hugging. So, but they were planning on an escape plan. They call it the Exodus, of course. And when you're in Tokyo, where else would you plan your Exodus, Deedo, other than at Tokyo Tower? Always Tokyo Tower. Those
Better than a
Japanese are kind
theater.
of proud of that thing.
Sorry, we're
um,
like on two different topics here.
so they plan this whole attack and everything. And the funny thing I thought about this was it's actually European style attacking. So he's going all for it. There's enough buildings that could do pretty good
Guerrilla tactics?
guerrilla tactics. But no, let's just send people as decoys while I slice my way through Tokyo Tower and everything.
And
Uh,
that's the fun thing too about this strategy. So now I'm gonna just kind of expand on this a little for everyone who might have or not have seen this. It's your basic one-on-one strategy, like the old days where they just line up together and they just start,
yeah, the
closing on
European
each other.
style of warfare, right there.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. And Shu pulls out the sword from Inury. He just charges in there, and he didn't need to do that to begin with. So I found that I'm like, alrighty. So he got probably a good dozen of his so-called comrades killed or mortally wounded in this too.
For no apparent reason either. That's the
no
funny
apparent
thing.
reason.
For no apparent reason, because I'm pretty sure if he just had pulled out Inury's sword, he could have just taken them all out in one shot.
Yeah, he really could. And
I don't know.
Anyways, so there's my rant.
But as Shu sacrifices voids left and right for no apparent reason, he gets into the tower and manages to slice the tower in pieces. This is another thing. They enjoy showing Tokyo Tower, but the Japanese aren't afraid to blow it up at the same time.
No. And it didn't really blow up. It just kind of toppled over.
Yeah,
it's just like...
Yeah, of course that takes out all the giant robots and everything, allowing them to go until then we notice that Arisa, she's been working with the outside. We see all the students pull out real weapons, not just voids, all against Shu, and Shu's going, dudes, I just got you out of this place. And they're like, well, we're going to dethrone you as the king. And guess who shows up at this point, Deedo?
Dun, dun, dun! KT.
Yes, I show up in the anime, and I'm like, what now? I'm taking all your voice. No.
Yes.
No.
KT is our next anime star.
Yes! I finally made it, guys. I'm ditching the podcast to do this animation thing. I don't know lick of Japanese, but it's okay. They're just using my likeness. But no, they show... Guy shows up, and you think this would be a nice, happy reunion and everything, and Arisa's like, I did everything you want, and then Guy just comes up, Shu, it's time for your reign to end. And, you think it'd be something like he try to convince Shu to join his ranks again or anything. No, he just kind of just slices Shu's arm off.
Just lobs it, just...
Nice and clean.
You see his arm right here? Gone!
Yep, nice and clean. And then somehow that causes the King's virus to transfer all over to Guy, who seems to already have some control over stuff because he was shooting blades left and right too, and he managed to pull out
Inury's sword.
Inury's sword to incapacitate her from helping Shu out. So...
And this is where it gets a little weird because, you would assume that Shu got his arm lobbed off. He is obviously agonizing pain on the ground and everything. How in the world, after did Inury, get him out of there? Did they
Because he was bleeding profusely. He should have been dead. He should have been dead in seconds, honestly, because guys are coming out of there.
I'm trying to figure out, did they cauterize it or what they do, because he doesn't have any bandages there or anything. It's just kind of like this. Anyways, we'll get to that in a bit because we see a lot of this in the next episode.
Yes. And at that moment, you know, somehow Shu manages to escape because the one kid, he kind of turns on all the other robots and
Yes, that's right.
pretty much takes out the whole battalion by himself before they pull him out, which was kind of
Yeah.
crazy. When Guy turns around, of course, Shu and Inari are gone. And
Yes, but we can't forget one of the best parts too, and this is where everybody who just escaped that was turned on Shu realized that maybe Shu was a better person to reign over us, so to speak,
yes.
because Guy does take out
Yes, oh, the
about
United
four,
Nations decides to
five.
they decide to Japan's kind of lost cause. Let's just blow it up entirely.
Yep, they sent off their stealth fighter, and I was dropping off. Was it basically they're just like nuke bombs and everything?
Yeah,
They're just going to carpet bomb the entire place, and Guy, with all his
newfound power.
newfound power and such, he takes about five voids, puts them all together, and makes a missile and shoots it off.
Yeah, and that takes out all the other missiles and oh yeah, kind of happened to kill all the guys he took the voids from. Which are
Yeah,
those those are
or
the
two idiots.
two idiot twins and the one girl that was pretty much short of just putting on knee pads and going to town with Shu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're at this point stuff. I kind of felt that this was deserved by them, but at the same time too, it kind of felt a little like they didn't deserve that.
Yeah, it felt like
Because
they got
the,
reduced from these more central characters down to just disposable ones that you could just get rid of in 2 seconds.
well,
Yeah.
the two idiots, I do believe they deserved every bit of that because they were never I didn't care about them anyways. They were just minor characters to me anyways. But yeah, it was just felt a little demeaning to some of them that just to go out like that, without anything. But
Yeah,
missile,
but
boom, done, yay!
yep, but all hail the new King Guy. He seems to be a lot
King
different vibe.
Guy,
And then
King Guy.
we go into this other episode and ISA and stuff tried to talk to him and he's like to Guy and Guy's like I've changed from before and everything.
I'm not the same guy you knew before, and
Yeah.
follow me or die by my hands is basically what he said.
Yeah. And then, it shows all the remaining Undertakers trying to escape because they're pretty much rounding everybody up. Arisa is welcomed into their order as a comrade. And then it cuts
Yes.
to Inari just pretty much holding a unconscious Shu that should have been dead about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, to this day, I don't know how they're going to explain how his mortal wound of losing an arm is going to not affect him at all. I mean, the only thing I found a little interesting and kind of funny, in my opinion, was he was looking at his phone template visual thing or whatever the hell they want to call it. Anyways, of like photos of all the good old days before all this crap happened, and after it finished it, you see the little YouTube thing replay again, and his little stump comes up, and he tries to push. He's just, yeah. I found that to be like that right there. I found to be slightly slightly funny, but at the same time too, I felt very sad for Shu because, how would you feel about after all this happened, getting forced into doing all this, and then getting your arm lobbed off, and you're reduced down to this?
My money is that either Guy or Inari is going to become his replacement arm sometime in the future. Write that down.
Yeah, I'm trying to wonder exactly how is he going to deal with this arm, because I'm not sure to say Guy or Inari, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like that does happen. I guess we could take predictions in a little bit later after we talk a little bit more about the situation that is happening right now.
Yeah, so it becomes a really interesting twist because it actually goes back to Arisa's grandfather, and they start explaining a part of the story that I didn't expect. And he was talking about this clandestine group, kind of like the Illuminati, except they call him the Dot. And they kind of have this underworld agenda that they want to do, and they're such an old group that people don't even believe they exist, but they do exist, and they've worked themselves into almost every organization around the world. And so then this is where it's interesting because they he had Arisa's grandfather has the one chick take over negotiations with the Asian coalition that's in mainland Asia right now that's trying to figure out what to do. And he's like, I have something else to do. And then this is where it cuts to the UN. I really honestly didn't think they put the UN in there. And they're in this kind of war zone situation, and they're watching Pacific Fleet head towards Japan. And then all of a sudden it just gets wiped out. And Guy makes this announcement to the world saying that there are 256 leukocytes around the world, and if any armies around the world mobilize or anything, we're going to destroy them all. I only have one request: leave us alone and let us do what we're going to do. And I'm going, what? What's going on over there?
They're up to no good, of course.
Of course, they're up to shenanigans. It's always shenanigans.
Yes, they want to perform the world's first DDR tournament in their headquarters, and they're only ones invited.
Man, oh well. At least it's not DJ Hero. I would be sad if it was DJ Hero and I wasn't invited.
No, actually, it's worse because they're actually making a live action DDR movie.
Yes. And I was hoping that was a spoof, but
Look up the FP for all those who are wondering. Look up
yes.
the FP.
So as Arisa's trying to hunt down Shu and Inori. Actually, they're hunting down Inori, but Inori kind of dragging Shu's body around everywhere. She all of a sudden they're in their mobile truck, and then they see this armored limo come out, and she's like, "Stop!" And suddenly everybody in that armored truck starts shooting, or in the armored limo starts shooting at everybody. And then you see her walking, and it's like, "Hold your fire! Hold your fire!" And all of a sudden, the guy who walks out is her grandfather, dressed in traditional samurai gear with swords and all. And he's like, "I thought better of you, you know. You wouldn't come into this group because you know you're not going to get any rewards out of this after the end." And, then the grandfather, which I think is pretty awesome, uses his first sword, stabs the guy closest to Arisa, and then uses a sword to take down the other two guys in like one swipe.
Not just stabs. He throws it.
Yeah,
and just stabs it. It just goes right through, just like that much of the blade. After a full size Japanese katana, only that much was sticking out of him.
Yeah, that like I was like, dude, why didn't we see the grandpa fight some more? That's freaking awesome. So it's now down to him holding a sword against Arisa, and it's like, I have to bring honor back. And he goes forwards for a final swipe, and then you just hear a gunshot. And Arisa just shoots him right in the chest, and he falls over. And his grandfather's like, "I've gotten soft." Right there. That was
At this moment, you can just tell that Arisa was like conflicted because she didn't want to fight her grandfather, but at the same time too, it's like she wanted to as well. You're seeing this character that was very timid, very shy, and just kind of went with things for the most part, turning into this sheep.
Yeah, I really didn't.
It's the best way to put that.
Yeah, I thought she was all in on Camp Shu and she wouldn't change sides or anything, and here she is, like complete 180, now working with the Dot, trying to take over the world or whatever they're planning on doing that we don't know.
Because they're supposed to leave them alone.
Yeah.
So we'll never know.
Yeah, and at this time, Inori, she kind of sees all this and she's trying to sneak back out to go tell Shu and everything, and a bunch of these guys just around and it's like, hey, what do we have here? And she goes into, I kind of don't like your name on this.
I know it's just like I gotta put up there because it just reminded me of
Yeah.
stuff. But what I named this was Super Enery mode. But let's see what KT has to improve on that because I'm horrible at naming stuff.
I was gonna think of what was it?
What was it, KT?
Oh crap! I had a good one, and this is what happens when you don't write things down. You don't remember them.
That's why we have that's why we have
I
our cheat sheet right here.
yeah,
Our
I
notes right here.
remember. I was gonna call it Psycho I Know mode
Psycho.
because she like
Why don't we just call it the over 9,000 Enery?
actually the funny thing is it actually reminds me of the movie Sucker Punch, where in that movie when they're doing all the dances and stuff, they kind of hallucinate or dream into this different world where it's usually a video game homage somehow, and that's kind of what Inari does. Is she kind of totally just removes her mind, and then her body just totally trashes anybody around her. And then when she comes to, she doesn't really remember anything that happened to her physically, other than the fact that she's covered in blood. And
She's not covered in blood. She has like just a couple of blood spots on her cheek.
yeah,
That's about it.
and then she runs off to Shu, and
Okay, this is where it gets a little weird because
yeah,
she
you
knows
could explain.
something's wrong with her.
You can explain this part.
I don't know if I really want to.
Fine. Since you're putting me on the spot, you dick. Um,
Thanks a lot, Deedo.
no problem. Any day, KT. But anyways, Inri comes back, sees Shu, just obviously distraught about this whole event
Everybody
that's
enjoyed
transpired.
Deedo Cyloning.
Exactly. And just throws herself at Shu, and she's already a lump full of sack of crap anyways because he's armless. Anyways, she just says there's something wrong with me. I feel like I'm a monster, and then she just like kind of goes back into her little crazy mode and everything, and starts trying to go down on Shu. And she was like, Inari, what do you? And she just looks at him and starts like crying again, and then just like buries her face in his chest, just crying. I'm going, okay.
Who thinks Deedo's connection's gonna die in a second because he sounds all Cylon on us?
Probably, honestly. I'm just watching my little Skype bar here flickering between red and green.
Okay, so what happens? And so she kind of goes into this self-reflection mode, and she's talking to herself. Well, she's not really talking to herself. She's talking to Shu's older sister in the scene, and like her older sister's like, just let me come back. You're just an empty shell. You have no heart. It's like, I can make you a whole person again. Just let me take over. And she's like, no, I am who I am. I am Inori. I'm not you. I am not your vessel to take over. She kind of confronts herself, and she tells Shu, they're coming after me. They're not coming after you. So I'm going to be a decoy, and you get away. And he's like, no. And then she does some weird, crazy thing that makes him pass out again. I don't know how that worked, but apparently at this point, everybody's kind of more self-controlled over their voids. And Inari just, in our last scene of the episode, walks down and pretty much confronts Guy. Or not Guy, just the whole GHQ or whatever they're called now. And she goes, if I'm a monster, then I'll be a monster, and just totally has these blades come out of everywhere on her. And she goes to town on all the robots and everything around there until Guy just like takes an arrow and just shoots her down at the end. And it looks like they capture her and then take her away. Then all of a sudden, again, you see Shu. He finally wakes up from his trance, and then he sees in his hand is the a pendant thing.
Hairpiece.
Yeah, that Inari usually has, and then you just see this look of determination on them, and that's pretty much the end of the episode right there. And at this time, I am going to take a quick break while we fix Deedo's connection. Okay? All right, everybody. Sorry for that. Those of you who watch live saw some magic happen. Everybody else, it was just a nice seamless cut. So, that's all we have for Guilty Crown now. And, it's been a little bit serious and everything. It was a little tough at the end when Deed almost died on us. So let's take a light breeze and enjoy some summer with our next anime. And our next anime is Ano Natsu de Mataru, and it's brought to you by...
Improvising, because that's what this ad's all about.
Oh yeah! Last time, it was the understanding of misunderstandings. Nothing still makes sense anymore, like it did in the beginning, but hey, we tried to explain it to you. Remen isn't a ninja, and do not mess with an angry senpai. Oh yeah! The men in black, they're watching out, and they're out there to get you. So
Here they come. The Men in Black.
Don't make me sing it again, Deedo. But it's funny. So in our last episode, it said there's summer session started, and of course, what's the best way to start out a summer year, Deedo? Sleeping in, right?
But then only to be woken up abruptly because you think you're late, but then realize it's summer. Then you hear stuff outside. You tend to open your window. You see, Ichika sitting down there in a tank top, some, short, hot pants, and you realize that's a great way to wake up in the morning.
Oh yeah, and she's hanging laundry too.
Yes.
But
and you can also talk about the lovely letter.
yes, he actually writes. So that's a funny thing is it shows that he wrote a letter to his sister, and it's like it's already the first day of summer. I don't think I'm gonna make it through. And he just like slides under the window.
It's like I'm not sure if I'm able to say sane.
Yeah. But then it's funny because they all, since it's summer now, unlike some of us who don't get summers anymore. Don't you remember those days of summer where all the kids, they're the movie now is the main focus of what they're gonna do because they have all this time and nothing to do, so they're gonna film a movie. And the next scene we see, Ichika is in this skin-tight cat suit type costume, and
Go for it.
everybody's asking, "Where in the world did you get that costume?" And Remen's like, "Well, I just had the cosplay club make that for us." And I'm just thinking, cosplay club? Why can't they make me a Ramune costume then?
Yes. You have the Pocky one. Why not make it a Ramune?
Yeah, and then she goes into this whole thing because she's a screenwriter, so everybody's asking Kaito, all right, what are we going to film first? And he's like, I don't know, go ask Remen, she's a screenwriter. And she's like, well, I'm writing it Hong Kong style, so I'm writing the scenarios and everything on the day of, and everybody's like, are you really planning this out, or are you just winging it? Kind of look. And she's like, all right, our setup is that we're going to have this alien crash land on Earth, and we're going to fall in love with the boy. And since it's only, what's the guy's name? Tetsuro, before I say Tetsuo again. Tetsuro and Kai. And Kai's like, well, I got to be behind the camera, so I guess it's you. And it's like, wait, I just want to do the stuff behind. And then Remen tells him the best thing ever. It's like, just go with the flow.
Okay, it's like I just want to say this because we all know who Ren's character is supposed to be based around in the other series and everything, but I think they did a better job with her in this one because she is more mischievous like ever before. Like, it's awesome. I love it. Yes, and Katie's favorite laugh that she has.
Yeah. And and she's also like, "Oh, I didn't write any dialogue. You guys are just gonna ad lib all that." so, so
So this is the greatest part too. So they enter the first scene where Ichika is in her Catwoman suit or whatever you want to call it, and here comes Tetsuro. Now you got me saying it, you bastard.
Tetsuo!
Tetsuro comes in and just like, there you are, and just goes with the whole thing like they're just meeting at a reunion, and Ichika is just like, how'd you find me and everything, and he just explains like, because I'm a man in black, and they have
Yeah.
another Men in. Seriously, I love it because they put another Men in Black scene reference right there, and the first thing I thought of was because for everyone who's following up on this, the Men in Black third movie comes out this summer, so something tells me that they're trying to promote this.
Yeah, I honestly, I would get a kick out of it if we watch Men in Black 3 and all of a sudden they're watching Ano Natsu de Mataru. I would love that so much. Deep down inside me, I would be win.
Yes, that would make Men in Black the coolest movie I have ever seen.
Oh,
2012.
yeah. So
Next to the oh crap, forgot the movie is going to come out in December.
zombies.
Anyways, hi.
Oh yeah, we're doing a show right now, right?
Yes, or something like that.
So during that whole scene, it's funny because Ichika, she pretty much says exactly the same thing that she said when she literally crash landed on Earth in the first episode. And as you go on, you start noticing that the story seems a little familiar to you, you know?
It's like we're having deja vu for some reason.
Yeah. And as I like to say it, because when you go buy Asian bootlegs, they all go, same, but different.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's funny because as we progress along the first day when they're filming and everything, Kaito, he's supposed to be the director and the cameraman and everything, but we start seeing the shift from Kaito being the director to just being the cameraman, then to being just a star because Ichika happens to kill the man in black twice in 2 scenes. Back to back.
Yeah.
So we
Back
need a
to
new
back.
male role. So let's have Kaito do it. So, and then all the help, everybody who's like, oh yeah, I just want to help behind the scenes, they all become central characters in this movie. And I think it's hilarious how she just like manipulates everything and just with her.
Yes, it's great because at this point we see that the original scene between Kaito and Ichika, let's saying, "Come live at my house," blah blah blah. It's like the whole day shooting. So after a whole day of shooting, they go from like Remen becomes the director, she becomes the cameraman actually,
Yeah.
and she pretty much takes everyone's role away, besides Mio's actually.
Yeah. The funny part is that I want to laugh is because she has that like giant camera, but they always end up using Kai's camera during all these scenes. I'm like, what?
Yes.
You think she
Yeah,
would
this,
be
this
using hers?
old camera that apparently his grandfather left. So it's not that he didn't want to get a better camera. It's just he likes that camera.
It's because 8mm sexy, Deedo. I told you. Even
Yes.
Kaito knows that.
Yes, it's true. I can't deny that.
And then so they all finished filming the first day, and they're back at home, and so it's just Ichika and Kaito. They're sitting at the table, and I just couldn't get this line out of my head at all because Ichika, we already see this relationship building between the two, And you know that, and Ichika, she's like, oh, he never will want to be with me if he knew he was an alien and everything. But the movie kind of set it in a scenario where she could ask this question, and then she starts probing him, like, if it was you in this situation, what would you do? And then Kaito says the most hilarious line that I saw in this episode. It's like, well, I don't think I'd mind unless they excreted some weird fluids or anything. And Ichika just has this like gives him this dirty look. It's like, no, they wouldn't. It's not like that. They're just normal too, type look. And he's so clueless about it.
I love it too because like as she starts probing him some more about the questions, she's just like, "What would you do with what would you want this alien to do?" And he's just like, "Oh, I would love the alien. I love them to take me to outer space." And she just kind of responds like, "But that's against regulations." He's like, "Huh?"
Yeah. I think that was my favorite scene of the episode, but there are a lot of good scenes in this anime because I don't know about you, Deedo. I am still laughing about in every scene as I watch this anime going on.
But you know what's even funnier is that they had this discussion between Kana and Mio was having like a phone discussion about what's going on,
Oh,
and I noticed something really really weird that I had to go back because I wasn't really that wasn't the reason why I went back though, but I kind of
yeah,
wanted to
right,
go back
Deedo.
and get a
Yeah.
part of the scene.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sure,
yes.
justify it. Justify it.
No.
It's all for the show, right?
Oh.
All for the show. All research.
I do in creativity and in artiste fashion. But anyways, I kind of just something just didn't seem right about when Mio was talking to Kana, and I took a good look and I realized that Mio is sitting on the phone talking to Kana, butt naked with a panda over her, and I'm going, wait. I didn't catch it at first, but when I went to rewatch that scene, I noticed this, and I'm just kind of like, was it supposed to be that way?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking because it's raining outside.
Yeah, I'm like, does she have
cold.
a towel on? Does she have a towel or something? I thought she had like a pink towel on. I couldn't see.
Yeah, I figured that maybe she was just got out of the shower or something, but no. Yeah, and she's butt naked.
Yeah, and that's and then Kana decides to go visit the newlywed couple. Well, not even newlywed couple, Ichika and Kaito, and she brings them turnips.
Greens.
Yes, turnips, and they make
and various
sandwiches
stuff.
out of turnips. I don't know. It just made me. You see Renan eating the sandwiches too. I really need to get a Renan plush. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. One day, man. One day.
Yeah.
I'll license someone to make one for you.
Yeah. So she hangs out there for a while, and she walks, and she says something that was kind of really rude, like, "Ichika, how long are you planning on staying?" type thing. Really rude. And then you see her walking back, and Tetsuro, I did it right, meets her kind of halfway in the rain while they're walking home. So they do the traditional Japanese school when it's raining. You go hide in a bus stop type thing for a while.
Not traditional stuff. It's more along the country style because, rain just appears.
Yeah.
It just happens to appear in the summer of any place like Japan, which we see often in anime.
So they go hide in the bus stop and they're talking, and Tetsuo, of course, at this moment, we know that Tetsuro and likes, what's her name? Kana. But Kana likes Kai. And we're not going into this odd-shaped thing again. We did that last episode. You guys can go back and check that out. But he's like, oh, just tell him, so he knows and everything. And she's like, no, that would be weird because we're filming this movie and everything. I'm just going to keep it to myself and pretend like nothing's happened. And then she walks away. It cuts back to what's his face? Kaito, who's cleaning the camera and stuff, and he hears this knock on his window. So he opens up, and there's Tetsuro just hanging off the ledge.
Clinging. Not just hanging. Clinging to his balcony.
On him. And he's like, can I come in? And then, to make things awkward, he's just like, kind of likes
He
you,
grabs the
Kaito.
camera. Remember, he grabs the camera
Yeah.
and it's just like points it at Kaito, and then he just outright just says, "Yeah, so Kana." He's like, "Oh yeah, she was over here. She likes you, dude."
And he's like, huh? And
Yeah.
and then of course, Ichika was in the other room messing with a computer and sees a life form that appears on the balcony. So it cuts to a scene where she's just right outside the door and she hears that and she's like, and of course that's where the episode ends, right?
Yes, but I want to also make one reference to. I've noticed this. It seems like they have this kind of panda theme going on because
Oh yeah,
the
the
panda
umbrellas.
covering Mio, and then you have the panda umbrella that Kana has. So I'm kind of noticing this panda theme going on.
That means we might need to bring back the panda hats.
Yes, for all those who really want to see us with panda hats again, let us know.
Kita at ktdata.net. So, and then in the next episode, it's funny. Tetsuro is back at his apartment, and he's making a plastic model plane. If you guys ever watched me live stream, you've seen I've built Gundams that way too. So he's just building that, and of course, Big Sis comes in again, and he's like, "Did you have another fight with your husband?" And she's like, "No, a couple of friends and I were gonna go out of town and everything, but they all bailed out on me." And she's
Makes
like,
you wonder what kind of lifestyle she lives.
"Yeah." And then she's like, "Why don't you seem so excited to see me?" And she's like, eh. And she's like, "Did something happen to you and Kana?" I was like, "No." All of a sudden, she just hands him a ticket and he's like, "What?" It's like, "Here, tickets for you and your friends to go to Okinawa."
Hokkaido. Oh yeah, Okinawa. You're right. Sorry, I was thinking Hokkaido.
Yeah. And Deedo,
Hi guys.
you know what happens in Okinawa?
Beach episode.
Yeah! And that totally sets up the whole episode. So, of course, I was waiting for this. I'm like, what high school drama is complete without a beach episode somewhere in between? We had one in C3.
Exactly.
We had one in C3, and our other two animes are far too serious to have a beach episode.
No. It's like Guilty Crown did have a hot spring.
Yeah,
episode.
they had a hot spring episode, but it's not quite a beach episode. Beach episode.
No. That's always there's at least either a beach episode or a hot spring episode in every anime.
It's true. Shauna better catch up.
It's true. Like, well, Shauna's had them in the past. I mean,
Yeah.
they had a beach episode in season 2.
So that's the funny thing. So they call everybody, and Kana calls Mio, and again with the panda and the nakedness.
Yes.
That's kind of weird. I guess that's some kind of fan service for somebody out there.
There's some nerd, some like otaku out there is having a nosebleed.
Yeah. And then Ichika's like, "Oh, you're going on a trip?" And Kaido's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Is that okay with you?" And she's like, okay with me." It's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go film the rest of the movie over in Hokkaido." And she's like, "Hokkaido?" And then he shows him a pamphlet of it, and it's like, "Oh my god, I've never seen something that place so beautiful! Ah, I can't wait!" Ah! Type thing.
Yeah, she got way too excited for this, but it seemed fitting.
Yeah, and then of course we get the theme and everything, and it has the traditional two guys on the beach like, "We're in Hokkaido, oh yeah!" And of course that's when all the girls show up and everything, all dressed up. And this is the funny thing, is that so first you see Mio and Kana show up, and they're kind of in provocative wear. Well, except Mio, she's in her hoodie.
Sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah, short sleeve sweater.
Yeah, and she's like, "I can't take this off because I have very sensitive skin." And the back of me is thinking, you just spent the last episode naked behind a panda bear.
It's true.
And then Remen and Ichika show up, and I don't know why Ichika said this. It took me a while to get changed.
And this is where I like to call it enter in nosebleed.
Yeah. she's wearing this skimpy two-piece bathing suit, and I'm like, how?
Bathing?
Yeah, bathing, basting suit, no, bathing suit.
Yes, we can speak English today.
And I'm like, how long does it take to put that on? It's barely anything there, and it's funny. Kind of like, and I thought mine was a little bit too much, right there. And it turns out that's Kaito's older sister's swimsuit. See, I told you, Kaito's older sister. Something going on about that. Yeah.
Moving along.
So, you see the traditional, they're playing beach volleyball. They go into the water, splash each other and everything, go undersea diving and everything. Then it cuts to, it's the funny part. I think it's Ichika's holding on Rinon, and Kaito's just pressing him, and he's just like water's coming out of it. And all of a sudden, this fish comes out of Rinon.
It's just like, bleh. And there's like a small little like tuna or like sardine or something. Just
Yeah.
bleh. I saw that and just I'm like,
See, this is why I want a Renon plush so much, because I think it's awesome.
just have like a little there's a fish and it's bleh.
Yeah, and I think I can make the sound too. It's like Renon.
Stop. It's gonna scare people away. Stop.
Okay. They obviously haven't seen the video version. If you're talking about that, Deedo.
People who watch us and actually listening to us, KT's doing some very provocative things on camera for you.
Always. And then so this is where it's kind of funny. And then Remon's like, "All right, we're gonna start filming." And it's like, "But it's still the first day. You guys had your Okinawa impression, so let's start filming and stuff." And so they set up the next scene and stuff, and people are looking. All of a sudden, this girl walks up to Tetsuo and is like, "What are you guys doing?" "Oh, we're just making an independent film right there." And then the girl sees Kai, and she goes up, "Kai, is that you?" And Kai's like,
Umi.
or Umi, yeah.
Umi.
"Umi, is that you?" And Kai's just like, "Who are you?"
How do you know my nickname?
Yeah, and it's like, "Don't you remember me?" And then all of a sudden, it just flashes back to when he was in elementary school, and I don't even remember the chick's name. Did you write it down?
Yeah, it's right here, Koshida.
Oh, and so
Kinoshita. Sorry, Kinoshita.
and then she's like, "Oh, yeah, I remember you." And then all of a sudden she just yells out, "Yeah, remember? We're really close to each other, and you're supposed to be my fiance." And here comes the dirty looks.
Yes. So enter in random fiance, get random angry looks from your senpai and from Kana. Beware.
Mio's like, "Oh, that's cute," but everybody else is, and of course Remen.
Yeah, but then it gets even funnier because then there's I wrote her name down too. Asarwa is, I think I'm probably mispronouncing that, but Asarwa is with Kinoshita or Kinoshita. Yeah, I got that one right. Kinoshita is with. It starts like sees Tetsuro. Oh, you got me saying that now. I hate you. Tetsuro, and it's just like all sorts of just like starry eyes, like, "Who are you? What's your name?" And he's like, "Do you have a girlfriend? Are you seeing anyone?" He's just like, "No," and she's like just flaunting over him at this point, Yeah, it's like KT's doing right now.
Yeah, and so there's and then and she's like, "Oh, these girls, this girl, Kinoshita, she's the perfect guest star that I want in the movie and everything." So they start filming this, and you see Tetsuro get all like, "Oh, this is really uncomfortable," because the girl's still there's like, and he's like, "Oh, I forgot something at the cabin or the hotel. I got to run back and."
No. Before that, we have the whole interrogation between Ichika.
Oh,
and
yes.
Yeah, you skipped this part because this is really funny because he's just kind of like, just sitting there with his just knees together, for anyone who might be able to see me right now can see his visual, but he's just kind of like sitting like this with his head down. It's just like you're like a child who's obviously been in trouble, you know. And there is like saying, "How do you know this person? What's going on?" And he's just kind of like, what's kind of this is kind of my business. What do you have with that? And then both of them just kind of like look at each other and just get the same thing. It's like, because
Your sister
we
left the senpai in charge to
yeah
keep you
we
in
are in
trouble.
charge of you. And I'm just going like,
Yeah.
you're kind of boned, buddy.
Yeah, and he just starts digging a hole in himself. It's like, I gotta explain the situation. Oh, so there's a situation between you two? No, no, no. I'm trying to explain the current state of affairs. Oh, so you've had an affair with him? No, 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 no.
I love it because they're not giving a word in edgewall at anything. Every single time he tries to like it's like, hear me out, hear me out. They're like, shut up. It's
Yeah.
just like they wouldn't give him an inch. It was just like going. Then you have Mio and Tetsuo. Damn it, Tetsuro.
Tetsuo!
I'm blaming every single time I say Tetsuo. I blame KT. So Tetsuro and Mio's out there just talking to each other, and he's just kind of like, I feel sorry for you, buddy. I'm just like, do you? Do you
Yeah.
really feel sorry for him? And enter in random
Well,
Asura.
so
And just,
because Mio's like, so what about that other girl, huh? You guys exchanged emails and everything. It's like, well, I couldn't say no to a pretty girl, and then all of a sudden, blip.
yeah, it's just like on cue. She just like sits there like right over the balcony, just kind of like, what's that? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that. It was just kind of bloop.
And then
Hi.
she starts spewing all these like Facebook stalking type things about him. It's like, oh yeah, you like this, this, and this, and this, and this, and it's like,
Yeah, it's like I can see like how it being like she's kind of cute, but she's also kind of crazy.
kind of reminds me of a girl I dated before.
Same here. A few of them I've dated.
Yeah, they're all clingy on
There's
you.
a reason why there's a really reason why they're exes.
And so they and then there's this random bed scene where I haven't forgot what Tetsuro told Kai because I don't remember that scene that well. But the scene after it, it's Kana. She's looking through her clothes and everything, and Mio, she's in bed, naked,
Again.
again, and Mio's just like, none of these clothes really click. And it's like, oh, you're adorable sometimes, and then she goes to bed, and Kana calls her out. It's like, are you gonna sleep like that? You know I can't sleep any other way. Most random thing ever. And
I found this to be like just so funny because I guess she just likes to sleep in the nude. I guess she feels more comfortable being nude.
Mio's a
I'm
nudist.
just like, it appears. There you go. All right, so we've cleared that up.
Yeah. So then the next day they're shooting. That's when we get to Tetsuo. It's like, oh, I forgot something at the cabin. And he kind of runs off, and he's looking through his bag. It's like, what can I say? I forgot. What can I say? Oh, I might as well just kill some time. And all of a sudden the door creaks open, and Renon's on the bed right behind him. And then what's her name? Arisoa or whatever. She pops up, and she's like,
Glomps. Just it's the best word is
Yes.
she just glomps him on the bed.
yeah. And she's like, I can't control myself or whatnot. And what do you think I'm here? And like they're really literally wrestling on the bed. And so they like knock heads or no. All of a sudden you see the struggling, and then all of a sudden you see just a loud thump, and Arisa, she just falls off the bed, and then poor
No. What happened is Mio pops in and pushes her.
Yeah, just pushes her out of the way, and then poor Renon got knocked over too. And then right when Narisa falls over, butt on poor Renon, and he gets smothered to death or something.
Well, the worst part is that they have to put a little fan service, of course, but we're gonna keep on referring to this and have to refer to Nose every time we say her name because we haven't got it down yet. But Arisa's hot pants, where Renon got squished by is the best way to put it. Is you see his little, like his or her, whatever it is, little plant,
Yeah.
plant
Yeah.
hairdo. It's just sitting right up there, right from her butt, and you're just going like,
Hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
that is a very provocative scene.
Yeah, and then
Insert Remen laugh here.
yeah. And then Mio like ends up in a traditional girl falls on top of guy situation, except her dress is
Oops
kind of
scene. The oops scene. Yes,
yeah.
and apparently she's not wearing underwear.
Yeah, her dress is kind of hacked up. You see her pulling that
Yes, she's just
awkward
kind of like
moment.
ah, and just kind of slowly slips her dress back over her butt.
Awkward moment, and then we see and then it cuts to the scene where Kinoshita and Kaito, they just had wandered off into the woods between all this mess and whatnot, and it's the Kinoshita. She's kind of talking to him. What if this was all true and it wasn't just an act, and that still in love with you, and you said you didn't have a lover and all, and he's like, well, there's a girl I kind of like, but I don't
I'm not
have.
involved, but there's a girl I kind of like, and
Yeah,
at this point, you just see the most like really they really did a good job in animating this. Like, just had this like most distraught look on her face and
yeah,
tears falling out. You're just seeing this going like, wow,
yeah, and
that is like she's truly sad.
yeah, you just kind of see some tears coming up, and you know, it's this awkward moment where there's rustling leaves, and what's her face, Ichika, she's looking in the woods for them because they kind of just disappeared randomly, and
Ooh, like ninja.
shows up right in between them while Kai was gonna go, say I'm sorry or something, but it looks like something else is gonna happen, and they all have this awkward triangle scene, and of course the episode ends right there.
Yes, and where it ends, it's ending at a really good point, especially for how we're doing the show right now.
Yeah, because we're
So
only on
it leaves us for a lot of like speculation, because here we have like the people who we feel that are actually interested in each other now conflicting, or not conflict, sorry, coming to the crossroads of who they're supposed to actually be liking.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting because it's only 12 episodes and we're about halfway, right? I think.
Yeah, we're on episode 5.
Yeah.
No, 6. We are halfway.
Yeah, we're halfway. And I really don't want it to end. Just like C3, I think the pacing was really good,
Yeah.
I hope we get more because I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying this one because I've always been a fan of this series. All of them.
Yeah. And speaking of enjoying things, let's go on to our next anime where I'm sort of starting to enjoy it. And our next anime is Shakugan no Shana Final, and it's brought to you by Pincers. Watch out what you're grabbing.
So, last time, I get winded by saying 2 names. Yoshida finds a purpose, and the fight between Yuji and Shauna rages on.
Finally!
Even great news too, because when we first get in the scene right after this into our 19th episode, is Shauna and Yuji actually are fighting for reasons. I mean, of course, some dialogue happens and they're trying to convince Shauna on Yuji's views and everything. Then it cuts to the opener that we are now listening to.
Yes. And then Yuji's like, I'm doing it for you because I love you and everything. And then Shauna is, she totally just, that hit a nerve.
Yes, and this is what I love too, because this is the first time in the entire series where we see Shauna back to her original self. Like, because they obviously have already exchanged that they love each other, and they're making this very valid now. But because of Yuji's stubbornness, we'll call it, I'll let KT explain this because this is just absolutely this is awesome.
Yes, so he's like, "Can't you understand? I'm doing this all for you," and she just totally wails, just like comes at him, is like, "For me?" All of a sudden, she's like pulls out her giant firearm fist and just smack right on the face, and I just call it the ultimate bitch slap. Like, totally just whacked him, and he flies across the thing, and Metamorphosis just like picks him up and is like, for you to be the god of creation and all, you kind of really suck with women.
It's the greatest part too, and this is what I mean by, because how many episodes has it been since we ever heard like Shauna actually say Yuji Yubaka, or Baka, and that right there, I'm just going, that is the Shauna I remember from the original shows. Just it's telling people to shut up, Ursai, and calling it like Yuji Baka all the time. It's like this is what I remember as Shauna, and they brought it back in this one. I was kind of happy about that.
Yeah, and I just loved it because he just totally gets smacked pretty far where his general has to come pick him up.
Yeah.
And they have this conversation, and he's like, "I was never good with girls. I was hoping your centuries of advice would help me." And the general's like, "I was never good with girls either." And they just
true guy talk there.
Yeah. And then they just continue on with the battle after that, where I forgot that couple. They're trying to
Sales, and I forget the girl's name. Like, I keep on trying to write it down, but I just can never find it.
The girl that has the like flying energy thing. They're trying to break into the giant tower that was built in the previous episode, and the mad scientist, all of a sudden you see all these garage doors open, and then this giant robot pops out that, to me...
Sorry, I got to stop you there right there, because we're missing one vital key point, because this is actually shown through the rest of some of the other episodes, is that Shauna is going toward what was called the World Egg, which is going to be the unrestricted spell that is making their new world, and they're trying to break the unrestricted spell so it stops the creation of the new world. And she has something in her hand. She throws it. It turns into like a little fireball and everything, and it's a ring. What it is, it's called the Corde, which is an unrestricted method that turns a ring into a bullet, basically.
Yeah,
you'll see more. Yeah, we see more of this later in the episode too.
Yeah, and it's just like
go ahead.
Yeah, it slices them, and he's like, "Oh, apparently you've gotten some new toys since we last fought." But then so it goes back to the couple fighting, and you see this robot come out, and tell me, does that not look like Al from Full Metal Alchemist when it popped up?
No, it doesn't necessarily remind me of Al, as it more reminds me of like something from Big O.
Like, I don't know, it probably reminds me of that because the Domino sounds like Al. But so one pops out, and the guy's like, "Oh crap." And then so
this is the best part. This is the best part too, because our crazy mad scientist is just kind of like, here's my greatest creation, and this is what he named it too, mind you. He called the excellent 25250 the punching tiger trap.
Yeah. So
I'm just like, really? That's his name?
Yeah. So one of them pops out, and he's like, "Oh crap!" And then it starts walking off, and all of a sudden, in every garage door, each robot just starts popping up, and he's like, "Oh dear." And they just start come marching at him.
You have that oh crap look on your face too. You're just kind of like, oh damn.
Yeah. So there's this waging battle that's going on. And then underground in the tower, we see what's her name?
Marjorie.
Marjorie. And she's like, man, I'm missing all the fun stuff upstairs. And it's like, well, you got to do what you got to do to get it. So she leaves this spell under there, and then you see the old man leave another spell on the other side, and all of a sudden it just erupts, and the tower starts to kind of do the Leaning Tower pizza thing and wants to like crumble. And of course, our awesome General Metamorphosis, he grabs his handy dandy spear, enlarges it, and just like chucks it right down the center of the tower, and hits rock bottom. Is like, that should hold it.
The worst part was about this is when he threw the spear and I saw it got bigger. I was just, why the first thing popped in my head was like, it's morphin' time. I don't know
Yeah.
why that popped in my head when I first saw that, but I had to pop it in this segment because I didn't want to write it in there because I didn't want you to make any comments or have any time to think about comments before I could make it.
But the funny thing is about these episodes is finally we're actually going to see a lot of action in them. So that's why you'll see as you watch the episode, you'll see that we're not commenting a lot about it because a lot of it is actually brute battle instead of just the Dragon Ball Z style where they take a hit and then they talk for 20 minutes type thing. And so, they're having this crazy battle, and Yoshida, she's still up there. She's the only human that's that's caught in the crossfire to say of this whole thing, because everybody else is either a flame haze or a Tomagara or some kind of god, and they're like literally duking it out like crazy. I highly suggest you watch it if you're. This is the action I've been wanting since episode 6 of the series. And she's having this kind of internal battle in her head. What should I do? What should I do? And then she's like, oh, I can change something. So she yells up to Shauna, who's still fighting Yuji. She's like, Shauna, I need you to cut this chain that's holding back her powers. And Shauna's like, oh, sure, and flies down.
Yeah, okay. I found this to be funny too because she doesn't second guess it too. It's like why in the world does she even have that on? She's just kind of like, okay, swoop down and slices it, and then Yoshida pulls out the Hira, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah, Hiralda or whatever.
Hiralda, yes. I'm horrible pronouncing things apparently. Hiralda, and from the previous season, we see that Phileas gave that to her, and what it's supposed to be is that if there's ever a time where she feels like that she needs to be summoned, Phileas, that is, that you would use this charm to summon her, but there's a cost though. It would cost your life to do it. So Yoshida gets all her courage up and everything because with that chain on, she couldn't use that pendant, and with the chain now gone, she used it and summoned Phileas. But then Phileas lives a small detail out about this. About the Hiralda. God, I just completely screwed that one up.
Hiralda at large.
Hiralda. But the Hiria, what it does, what's actually its purpose is that after it's been used, it allows humans to use unrestricted spells. So it's not necessarily supposed to take your life.
Yeah. She says normally it takes your life because humans are so scatterbrained kind of thing, and they don't really have a reason to be using an unrestricted spell. But in this case, she's so determined to change the battle for both Yuji and Shauna that she kind of got away with it. Pretty much.
But here's where it's to me, I find very interesting too, because Phileas shows up and everything, and obviously everyone's just kind of like, oh crap. Because they mentioned before that she's a very, very, very strong, then like crazy strong. And this is what I mean too, because here she is, just kind of like walks up at Yoshida and everything, kind of like puts Yoshida in front of Yuji, kind of like about to grab her and all that fun junk. And there she is, like right next to him, grabs his arm, puts his arm behind him, touches his back to wake up Johan, which is the Raging Mayo that resides inside him, and I'm just going like, wow. So Shauna is like trying her hardest to beat Yuji, while she just kind of walks up and just,
Yeah.
and I'm like going, how crazy powerful is she?
Yeah, and they're kind of nuts. Both of them are kind of nuts too, because Johan comes out and starts taking out the whatchamacallit.
Reiji Maya, or known as the Midnight Lost Child.
Yeah, tries to take that out, and Yuji's going like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, I'm just kind of taking back what's mine," type thing. And they have this 5-minute discussion on everything, on how he's an idiot and whatnot.
Yeah, in a nutshell, well, we can put this simply as, if you truly love somebody, you can be selfish.
Yeah. And then in the end, he ends up pushing the Reiji Bio back into Yuji, and all of a sudden, this is awesome. All of a sudden, this they make this bridge out of a spell,
Yes.
and
Oh,
this
sorry.
Volkswagen,
Just give me a second to laugh this up for a bit.
yeah,
But
this Volkswagen hippie van drives up, and when it comes up, Phileas kind of just chucks Yoshi up into the air because she was holding her for the whole time, just like, oh, whatever, let's get the garbage out. And they all get into the Volkswagen van.
they all get into the hippie van.
Yeah.
That's like the first thing I thought of. I saw, I was like, what the hippie van?
And they just drive off.
Yeah. This was like probably the best random scene I have ever seen in Shauna. All together was alone this hippie van. I am like a thorough fan of this hippie van.
Yeah. And they just drive off, and then it cuts to the other scene where Metamorphosis is like, "Doctor, are you done fixing the base yet?" And he's just going like, "Give me a second, I'm trying to get it to all work." And all this time he's pinching Domino, and it looks really
Awkward.
interesting.
Yeah, for all those who like, we can't really like describe how awkward this is, so we recommend you watching this episode.
Yeah. Very, very awkward. And then he all suddenly reboots the base, and it just does the kind of what happens in the Transformers movie when Unicron transforms, is all these tubes and pipes and everything pop out and kind of stabilizes the tower. And now the general can get his spear, which shrinks back to regular size, and he can take that off and throw it into the ether or whatever he's doing with it. But then it cuts to Carmel, where she's still back when what is it, Felius
Elias.
and Johanna show up. They made this like windstorm or something where you can, if you're not concentrated, you can get lost in your thoughts there. And Carmel's just like, I couldn't help Felius again. What am I doing? Is my whole reason to be a flame haze done now? I can't really. And you see her mask start cracking and everything. And then all of a sudden, Marjorie just shows up right above her. It's like, oh, feeling lost in your thoughts? Been there.
Yes, this is a great scene for Marjorie too, because you've seen how much stronger she's become since like the whole breakdown she's had, and like all the support she's actually got. So I feel that Marjorie has become a very strong character at this point to actually to just boost Carmel's like morale up, and it was a good scene actually.
Yeah, and then Carmel, and then she reminds Carmel that there's this girl that's probably gonna die if you don't go out and help her, and it kind of makes Carmel remember why she's fighting, and then she heals her mask, and they go all out, and now it's 3-on-2. And
I don't know if I can make this sound any less provocative.
yeah, I didn't catch this next line that you put down here on the robots, to be honest. But so They get saved, and there's another intense battle and everything. The funny thing
Oh,
is,
that one.
it cuts out to the hippie van again. They're driving because you see all these Tomagaras that's coming into Masaki City right now, and all of a sudden these blasts are coming at him, and the old man, he's like their bodyguard. He like deflects them, but the van starts shaking and everything. And then the front of the van actually pops up. It's like, can you be a little more careful right here? We got the girl in the van too, you know.
The first thing I thought of too when I saw this was the that was Scooby Doo.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought
No,
too.
really, it's like then I started thinking about like all the people in there. I'm like, alrighty, so we got the whole mystery machine crew in this van. Scooby Doo is the head of the van. The driver is Shaggy. The top is gonna be like either I don't know. I don't want to say it's Freddy, but it's probably like what was Velma? Yeah,
Yeah,
Velma.
Velma.
And I'm just sitting there going like I'm just like picturing a whole bunch of like just the whole Scooby Doo crew there.
Yeah, just they're driving along, and I thought that was hilarious because I don't know where they're going. I don't even know who these guys are really. They just appeared, and now they're going on some crazy adventure with what's her name? Yoshida in the back seat, passed out.
just zonked out. And this is what I mean by the whole robot thing, because when they showed up, like they have the two flame hazes fighting off the robots again. I swear to God, I heard Godzilla voices coming from them. If it's just me, then maybe it's just me. But did
You're
you
hearing
did you happen
things,
to hear
Deedo.
that?
No, I honestly didn't catch that until I saw it down here. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, Deedo.
Yeah. Okay. So this is like swear when they're like moving around, like making their noises and everything. I swear they made a Godzilla scream.
Yeah, and then I swear they did this just to appease the fans, but during the episode they kind of just intertwined these little tidbits of the Earth gods fighting, and they're taking names left and right in all this, and
Yeah.
it
But they're
doesn't
not
even look.
moving.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're even breaking a sweat right now. But yeah, you
It
only
doesn't look like they're even advancing.
yeah. You only see them for like 30 seconds at a time, which is kind of, I kind of want to see them fight more. Hopefully we will.
Yeah. And
Um,
they're obviously crazy powerful, but they don't get enough screen time.
yeah. Um, and then it goes back to, of course, the lover's quarrel that's still going up above the head, going for the world egg. That's a horrible name. Um,
Hey, I didn't name it, so
So, Shauna's kind of getting the upper hand because now that Johannes is not part of Yuji, he's having a hard time detecting how the spiritual energy is going, which is kind of hindering his ability to fight. Because, I guess everybody else can do it like in their sleep. And so all of a sudden, Shauna's about to like send out this huge blow against him, and we see a spell that comes out and blocks him, and everybody's like, "That's not the god of creation's spell. That looks like it's Yuji's unrestricted spell." And you kind of describe it, Deedo. It's this,
um, it's a wall,
yeah, pretty
but
much,
it's like a crystal wall.
yeah,
I mean, obviously, like I'm just looking and going, Diamond Wall or something. I feel like it's something that came out of the Magic the Gathering or something,
yeah.
But and at this point itself, everyone is amazed too because that it was just kind of like unconsciously thrown out there, and obviously apparently it's a big deal because even Shauna is just like, oh, I gotta attack before he can master this.
Yeah. So, on her final attack, remember those whatchamacallums, the starts with a C.
Cordair.
Cordair. She
Cordair.
has she
Yeah,
has Corday. She has a handful of them, and then she does the giant flame hand that we see her trying to get in the first few episodes with a handful of them, and just totally goes at the world egg with that, and you see Yuji trying to stop her with the unrestricted spell that everybody is so amazed about. Impressive, I say, but the second time around, kind of showed it
Not
kind of
so
sucked.
much.
Cause
It was
the
you caught. It's like you catch me off guard once. You can't catch me off guard twice.
yeah, cause the flame hand kind of cuts through it like a hot knife through butter.
No. That one, it had some struggling, but he's using the silver as a secondary shield that's covering up trying to cover the world's egg. That was a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, and then you see all the cordes separate and just like slice into it different parts, and it the girl likes rings, let's just say, and it literally just turned it into, since we're going with the food thing, turned it into Swiss cheese, and it kind of just broke apart everywhere, and
Hmm.
that's pretty much where the episode ended. Everybody's
Yeah.
kind of what just happened here type thing.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like that the original story is going to be, it's starting to pick up and everything, but I think they might be killing the story too when they start bringing the other Flame Hazes back, because it seems like this is one of those that would work out better if that's just Shauna, Yuji, and the gang and everything were
Yeah.
just to settle out,
Yeah,
because they're obviously trying to bring like the other Flame Hazes back, because they're bringing in the leaders, they're bringing in that, what was it, the guy with the rose and everything. I forgot to write his name down, but
yeah.
it seems like every time they bring to these ones, they kind of kill the actual like mood of the series. It feels like.
Yeah, and I'm worried because it's almost the end now. We're at episode 20.
4 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
So,
2 more episodes of Kita before this ends.
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm excited though. This is what I've been waiting for, like I said, since episode 6. But I'm still kind of worried now, and I guess we'll have to wait in 2 weeks and see what happens.
You know what we haven't seen in a while? We haven't seen our bomb girl.
Yeah, we
haven't seen her a few episodes.
Yeah, I have no idea where she disappeared to, because, like I said, I thought she was going with them to America and everything, and I guess not.
Maybe she's still in the first class lounge.
Yeah, it's true. But you
Maybe
know,
eating some plain fruit.
yeah, you know who's not in the first class lounge?
You?
This episode of Kita, man.
Yes, that's true too.
That's pretty much it. I don't really. That's all we have. That was all Shauna. Again, we're probably running a little long already, so we'll just get these plugs in real quick. Again, feedback. We love feedback, input, hate mail, anything. Kita, Kita, at ktdata.net. Send it all to us. Let us know how much you hate us. Let us know how much you love us. Let us know how boring we are. Anything at all. We'll read it on air. As keep it short though, because we are going long.
Also, double check us on ktdata.net. We will be covering up Anime Salt Lake this weekend. And also check for some more reviews I'll be posting up here really soon. I'm going to be doing my next one on Hyperdimension Neptunia Mark II. Just got it in.
Yeah. And then, make sure you guys find me on all the social networks, Twitter, Google Plus, and all. I actually think I might crowdsource my haircut. So if you want to have input on how this hair looks, because I know it looks horrible now, you can make it even look more horrible. So.
Oh God, I'm gonna tape it. You know that, right?
Yeah, and we do this show every 2 weeks. So our next one will be March 13th. Make sure you guys come visit us. Of course, always ktdata.net/live. There, the chat room's there. There's people in the chat room. You get to catch our pre and post shows, because those are always hilarious. And, watching live, you can have direct input. We do try to read stuff in the chat that's relevant to what we're talking about, but usually we bore them by the time we start.
Yes, there is no one in the chat live.
See?
We're liars.
Yeah, we're liars. And if you were in the chat room, you would know that. But, until next time, my friends, stay classy, and I don't know. I suck at these exits. I'll just see you guys later.
And stay clean.
Bye, guys.
There it is.
Yeah, weren't you supposed to bring the stripper pole?
I lost the grips to the one side, so if you got too much weight on one side, it would slip. I'm still working on finding replacements for that.
I didn't say get like a. Well, you weren't like gonna do some like crazy like hanging off the pole or anything, right?
Maybe I need to practice.
Oh, you're one of those people. Okay.
Yeah, just like you.
At least I take my tips only in $10 denominations.
I like to do $1 because it makes it look like you have more. You know, I can put $17 like a G.
Perfect.
I froze.
No, you're not frozen.
No, from the feed, I froze there for like 3 seconds or so.
You're all blocky now. But whatever. All right, I gotta use this voice, or it's not loud enough for the dudes to hear.
And such.
Yeah, boobies.
Boobies!
Boobies! All right.
Yeah, too bad my mic's like right here. So no matter where I move, you're going to hear exactly what I'm saying. Oh.
Talk louder so all the people can hear, and talk slowly so they understand what you are saying.
Why am I just remind Mighty Python right there?
Deedo, talk.
I think I'm fine now, honestly.
No, you sound like a robot. Hold on, I'm gonna call you back. Like you seriously sound like robotic. All right, here. You don't even sound anywhere close to being you. Yeah.
Yay! I am a robotic. Yay! Going to Disneyland, guys. Yay!